Well, what is going on, everyone, and welcome back to TTP Sports. And it's a, great day. It's actually a great day because you know why? The Phillies wrapped up their final spring training game with a 9-2 victory over the Tampa Bay Rays. And we're a couple days away from opening day for the Phillies standpoint. Opening day for baseball is tomorrow afternoon, and I can't wait. I am hyped. I am pumped to see Phillies baseball. I am pumped to go to Citizens Bank Park on opening day with my father. My first opening day. Never been to an opening day in my life. What a time to be going to an opening day. This Phillies lineup, they're going to mash. They're going to hit dingers. Can't wait to see Kyle Schwarber hit third deck bombs. Can't wait to see Bryce Harper put up another MVP type season, possibly. 8 home runs in spring training with 2 today. Bryce Harper was on another level this spring, and he's picking up the pace that he had last year. Is Kevin Long helping him? Is Kevin Long, his former batting coach with the Nationals, helping him out? And Kevin Long helping out Mickey Moniak with the way he's been hitting this spring? Other guys as well? Nick Castellanos, Reese Hoskins, JT, Didi, Gene Segura, Bryson Stott, throwing Matt Vierling and Alec Boehm as well. This rotation, Aaron Nola, question marks around him. Zach Wheeler, question marks around, he's not going to start the season on time. Ranger Suarez looks like he's going to start the season on time, which is good. Zach Eflin has looked good in as many spring training starts as he had. And, you got Kyle Gibson as well. Bullpen, we all know the bullpen's going to be question marks. But it's going to be a very exciting time. It's going to be a very exciting time to watch this Phillies team. Going to be a very exciting season. I can't wait for it. I'm going to be locked into all 162, and I just can't wait for baseball too. I just love this time of the season. Baseball's back, opening day, great time of the year, and honestly, I just want to watch baseball. That's it. I just want to watch baseball in general. I just love watching a sport, especially when you got the late night games at 10 o'clock on the West Coast. When you're watching random teams like the Seattle Mariners versus the Oakland Athletics, or you got the Dodgers games, you got the Angels games, see Mike Trout, Shohei Ohtani, you got the Giants, you got all those teams out west, San Diego. You see just random out of market games. It's just very, very fun to watch. And especially with a lot of other teams in the league this year, it's gonna be very exciting to watch. Teams like Toronto, other around the division as well. Teams in the AL West, like I said, the Seattle Mariners. The NL West is going to be packed with the Dodgers in that roster. That NL West is just going to be monstrous. Milwaukee Brewers pitching rotation. The NL East could possibly be an exciting division this year. Who knows? Who knows what the way the NL East is? It's been, one of the more weaker divisions the past couple of seasons for a little bit. But this might be the most competitive NL East that we've had in some time. Braves, reigning World Series champions, Mets, even though the Mets met. And who knows if, they're already starting to met with the DeGrom injury that's setting them back for a month. Scherzer having any hamstring issues, even though he is going to be the second day starter after opening day. Who knows how long that's going to last. And then with the Phillies, this lineup going to mesh. It's going to be a very exciting time. So before we get into all the fun stuff today, what is going on, everyone? Welcome back to TTP Sports. If you are new to the channel, I definitely recommend you hitting that sub button and also dropping a like on that like button as well. If you're looking for all the latest Philadelphia sports news, recaps, and events, I greatly appreciate that. And also, if you're a current viewer of the channel, I'm grateful for you being here that long and looking to continue that down the road. And if you're looking for tickets to upcoming sporting events, concerts, whatever you can think of, use the code TTP Sports down below for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. So that could be, you got opening day on Friday. There's probably still gonna be some tickets left if it's not sold out, or just get yourself some Phillies tickets in general. Can't pass that up. Sixers tickets, playoffs are coming up. Why not? Flyers, if you want to put yourself through that. And when Eagles come back, free $20 in your pocket. Use that for parking. Use that for concessions. Can't pass that up. It's an easy go. Use the TTP Sports for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek today. So I got my notes right next to me. I got the schedule right in front of me as well. It's going to be an interesting time. Going to a little bit of a hangout here. Going to discuss some Phil's baseball. Discuss some MLB baseball, just Major League Baseball as well. It's going to be a fun time. A little chill session here for, maybe the next 30 minutes to an hour just talking baseball. Because I just love it. I just love talking baseball. Just, growing up watching the sport in general with family and all that stuff. Baseball has been in my blood basically my entire life. Just watching the sport. It's so fun. It's incredibly fun. And I'm really excited to watch this upcoming Phillies season. It's just really, really going to be fun. I can't wait for every single pitch. I can't wait for first pitch on opening day. I can't wait for Aaron Nola on opening day, even though Aaron Nola has a lot of question marks surrounding him. Who knows when Aaron Nola is going to have that blow-up inning that he typically has. Can't wait for Bryce Harper to see what he does. Can't wait for this lineup, man. I just can't. I cannot wait for this entire Phillies lineup. It's going to be so fun. It is going to be, there's going to be ups. There's going to be a lot of downs, a lot of ups as well. But I do think at the end of the day, I think this Phillies team is a playoff team borderline. I think that's where they're at. Because if you just look at everywhere around, you got Fangraphs, I think, has them around, 88 wins or something like that. If you look at the Vegas stat lines, they have them around 85.5. Last year, I think they had them around like 80 or 82.5 or something like that. And the Phillies got 82 wins last year. So Vegas was right about the team last year. And they're putting them around 85.5 wins this year. So I would say more than likely this Phillies team, I see them around the 88 win mark. And I think that can get them at most possibly the second wild card spot. I think this team could possibly land in that third wild card spot. I think they can land in that second wild card spot and everything goes right. I think this team is a playoff team no matter what. I don't think they're winning the division just because there's way too many teams in the NL East that are going to be good this year. The Braves, the reigning World Series champions. You got the Mets, even though there's going to be so many question marks developing around them just because the Mets met. But on paper, they have a good team. And they're probably going to be very tough this year. But they got the DeGrom injury. They're relying on a lot of old players. Got to see how it goes. But it's still going to be a tough out. That's why I see the Phillies right now as a third or a second wild card type of team. Because then you got all the other teams that are in the National League. The Central, maybe more of the weaker divisions in the baseball right now in the National League. Brewers and Cardinals are probably the top two right there. Then you got the Cubs. Then you got the Reds and the Pirates, who are just bad. The Reds just started their fire sale this offseason. And then you got the Pirates, who are just terrible. And that's basically it with the Central Division. And then you got the NL West. You got a lot of teams over there. You got the Dodgers with their stacked roster. They're a World Series favorite. If they don't win the World Series this year, I have no idea why. With that, that entire stacked roster, getting Freddie Freeman, just everything that they have right now, Mookie Betts, Trey Turner, Max Muncy, Will Smith. It's just everything there. Their pitching staff, Walker Buehler. So they got a lot of stuff right there. And they're going to be a World Series favorite. If the Dodgers somehow don't win the World Series this year, I don't know. I don't know. Other teams in the NL West, you still got the San Francisco Giants, who really surprised everyone last year, to where I do think they're going to be fighting for that wild card spot, especially the first wild card spot. I think they're going to have a little bit of a drop off. I don't think they're going to be an 100-win team like they were last season. I think a lot of players are going to come back down to earth on the team, especially guys like Crawford and Brandon Bell. I feel like those guys were playing a little above, their expectations, especially since how old they are, especially Brandon Crawford. I think they're still going to be a good team, especially their pitching. I think their pitching is going to be good, especially getting guys like Carlos Rodon. I think they're going to be a good team, maybe around a 90-win team, maybe 95 wins. I don't think they're going to be an 100-win team, though. Depends. It does depend. Same thing with the San Diego Padres. They were one of the more hyped-up teams last year. They were really good to start off the season, then they just incredibly died off as the season went along. Basically, same situation, with the Mets the past couple of years, but the Phillies as well. Tatis struggled, and especially going into this season now that Tatis is out for, the first couple of months here, it's going to be tough for that team to replace, especially that bat in the lineup and the energy that Tatis brings. Can the Padres keep up with that? Their pitching is really hit or miss. It seemed like last year their pitching was electric to start the year, and then everything just died off. It kind of feels like everything that possibly could have gone wrong for the Padres last year, especially with their pitching, went wrong. And that's really, a lot of their pitchers are very hot and cold. Darvish, Blake Snell, all those other guys. There are a lot of hot and cold pitchers. And they got to rely on that going into this year. I know they just picked up Sean Manaea, and he's a solid veteran arm for, the 3, 4, 5 spot in their rotation. But not sure what the Padres, they're going to be fighting for the wild card spot at least, though. But that's still question marks to be determined there. And just going through this, looking in the American League, there's a lot of great teams in the American League, too. The Toronto Blue Jays, that young stacked roster that's going to hit bombs in Toronto. And they're probably going to be one of the favorite teams coming out of the American League, possibly for the World Series. They're a stacked roster. That Toronto Blue Jays, what they've built, especially with all the young guys that come up, Vlad Guerrero Jr., Bo Bichette, Barrios, who they got from the Twins last year. That entire roster is just, they got George Springer. Teoscar Hernandez. They're a stacked roster. Stacked. American League East as well. You still got the Yankees. You still got the Tampa Bay Rays, who everyone still seems to doubt, but they still prove that they could be a really good team in this league. No matter who they put on that roster and who they put on that field, they still got one of the best young guys in the league, Wander Franco. So they're still going to make noise. Boston Red Sox, they got better this offseason. So that AL East is going to be tough. The Central, I still think it's run by the White Sox. And, the Twins did get a lot better this year as well. The Tigers, I think, are going to make some noise. They're not going to be a playoff team, but I do think the Tigers are going to make some noise. But that Central Division is run by the White Sox. And Tony, even though I'm not the biggest fan of Tony La Russa, just because I kind of think, he's kind of out of touch with the modern game this year. Well, especially for what he showed last year. I think he's just kind of out of touch with the modern game. And then, the AL West, you still got the Astros, who I still think run that division. You got the Seattle Mariners, who are going to make a big push for the postseason this year. Hopefully, Seattle can do it and finally end that longest postseason drought. But, at the end of the day, I also kind of hope the Phillies make the playoffs as well, because say if the Mariners make the playoffs and the Phillies don't, the Phillies will have the longest drought in baseball in the recent history of baseball. So I kind of want both the Phillies and the Mariners to make the playoffs, just so you don't have to deal with the Phillies not doing that, having the longest drought. What is the Mariners drought, like at least 20 plus years? Was it a 20 plus year drought for the Seattle Mariners? That'll be freaking amazing if they can find a way to make the playoffs. That's going to be really fun to see. Yeah, this year's league is going to be fun. It's going to be very fun to watch. But at the end of the day, this is a Philadelphia sports channel. I talk about Phillies sports, Philadelphia Phillies baseball, Flyers hockey, 76ers basketball, Eagles football. We're going to talk some Phillies. I got my notes right here. I got the little notebook, got the roster right in front of me. Talk about, just the roster in general, looking at the schedule for the upcoming year, maybe where I do see this Phillies team placing at, and, just, the rotation, some of the things that did stand out during this spring training, because there were a lot of positives this spring training. There definitely was a lot. Bryce Harper for the way he was batting Mickey Moniak, Bryson Stott. I think Zach Eflin could have been a positive just from the way that he, started spring a little late, came into it after his surgery, and he looked good. He definitely looked good. Some things in the bullpen you got to look out for. Cory Knebel going to be the closer this year. How is he going to adapt? I know he used to be a closer for the Milwaukee Brewers, but he's been a couple of years separated from being a closer. So I wonder how long that's going to, last, and how he's going to adapt to that without being, is this bullpen, for this Phillies team, is it going to be? Because, if you look at the previous couple of seasons with this Phillies team, historically bad bullpens, historically bad. And if you look at last year's team, 82 wins with the amount of blown saves that they did have, maybe if they cut those blown saves in half, not even half, honestly, maybe if you cut them by a quarter, they're a second wildcard spot last year. They probably make the wildcard spot last year. If they, at least cut maybe a quarter or half of those blown saves. If you at least have a below average bullpen last year, you make the playoffs. You make the second wildcard spot. I know the Cardinals went on that unreal run last year with how many games they won in a row. Honestly, the Phillies could have made that second wildcard spot if their bullpen just wasn't historically bad for the past couple of years. Like, seriously, if you just have a below average bullpen, average to below average bullpen this year, you can make the playoffs with the way this lineup's going to hit, with the way this lineup's going to score runs. You can make the playoffs with that. And if you just get decent starting pitching, if you get at least an average starting rotation, you're going to make the playoffs. You're going to make the playoffs. That's I don't see this team not making the playoffs. I'm not saying they're going to win the division. I think they're a wild card team at best, second or third wild card spot. Just because, with the other teams in this league, I don't think they're going to be, you never know if anything can go right. Maybe they can get the first wild card spot. But I do think right now they're just a wild card team. And still, that's still good for this team. It's still making the playoffs. It's getting a lot of these guys the experience that they need. You get to see Reese Hoskins in the playoffs. You get to see if Bryson Stott's on the roster for the long run. Bryson Stott can make the playoffs. You get to see Bryce Harper finally get into the playoffs after, coming to Philadelphia for that goal. Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler. There's a ton of guys that can use that experience on this roster to get JT Realmuto. A lot of guys, you see Nick Castellanos, especially having Kyle Schwarber with this team, especially if they make the playoffs. That's a lot. That's great leadership, especially with Kyle Schwarber, with how many playoff games he's been through, winning a World Series with the Chicago Cubs, just going to the playoffs basically year after year with Chicago, and then playing in the playoffs last year with Boston, hitting those clutch home runs. That's huge for that locker room. That's a lot of great leadership right there. So it's going to be a fun year. It's going to be a very fun year watching this team. I know there's going to be a lot of people that are down on the Phillies just because fans are doing it once again. They're buying themselves into the Phillies with all the moves that they made, but, they're going to eventually, heartbreak everyone in the end. I can't think like that. I can't think like that. I get excited for baseball every single year. Getting heartbroken, it's part of the journey. It's part of the journey of being excited about your team. I'm excited about the Phillies. I get excited about the Sixers when they go to the playoffs, even though they heartbreak us a lot. Heartbreaking is part of the journey. Same thing with the Eagles. Same thing with the Flyers. The heartbreak is part of the ride. Eventually, some of these teams will win their championships. Enjoy the ride. Enjoy the ride. That's basically all I can tell you. If you're just going to be the negative Nancy going into every year saying that, oh, these guys are making themselves like this team is not going to do. Like, I'm not saying this team is going to win a championship. Enjoy the ride, and I think they're at least a second place wildcard spot. That's what I think. And yeah, you never know what could happen when you get to the playoffs, but if this team just gets to the playoffs, you never know in baseball. Anything could happen. But still, I'm not saying this team's going to win a World Series. I think right now, just getting to the playoffs and getting these guys the, experience that they need to, so they know how to win in September to get that ride done, to get into the playoffs, and then they get that experience in October. Because I just see October baseball in Philadelphia again, seeing Citizens Bank Park just coated in red, just all those rally towels, just the ballpark going absolutely electric. I need to see that again. I need to experience that. We haven't seen that since 2011. It's been a while. It's been a very long time. What is it, 11 years at this point? It's probably going to be the 11th season straight without playoffs right now. We got to find a way to do it. And I think this team can make the playoffs. So if we look at this roster right here, the 40-man roster, because I know the rosters were expanded for this year, especially with well, I don't think it's the 40-man roster. Actually, it could be the 28-man roster, because I know going into the start of the season, MLB is letting teams go to 28-man roster for the Major League squad instead of 26, just, for that April month. So you're going to be seeing guys like Mickey Moniak. You're going to be seeing guys like Bryson Stott on the roster. So that's going to be very nice. You're going to be seeing Alec Bohm on the rosters, granted of whatever they're going to be doing, in certain positions in the outfield, in the infield. There's going to be a lot of question marks, definitely. But this roster, I think it is good enough. So you get JT Realmuto, you get Garrett Stubbs as your backup catcher, Reese Hoskins, Gene Segura, Didi Gregorius, Bryson Stott, Alec Bohm, Camargo as probably a bench platoon type of player, maybe a utility guy out there. That's a good guy for a bench. Bryce Harper, Matt Bierling, and Mickey Moniak, who are going to platoon in center field, seeing who wins that spot in the long term. Kyle Schwarber, Nick Castellanos, those guys are going to probably platoon in left field and DH, a couple of points. So Nick Castellanos, Kyle Schwarber, those guys are going to mash and hit the ball a long way. Could be very excited to see that. Getting to your pitching, got Aaron Nola. There's a lot of question marks surrounding Nola. I think his last start in spring training, I forget who, I think it was against the Tigers or it was against the Yankees. Had 9 Ks. I think he went 5-6 innings. He did give up a home run, even though that has been the problem with Nola this spring, giving up the long ball, and especially on 2 strike counts. The fastball location has been the best, but hopefully I think he can build off of that final spring start, because with Aaron Nola right now, we know the problems with him. He gives up the long ball, and even though he has a lot of innings where he's electric, he's striking guys out, and he looks like a great pitcher. There's always that one inning that Aaron Nola has where he blows up, where he gives up that one run to where it sparks into something completely disastrous. Can Aaron Nola find a way to figure that out? Is there like a situation with the pitching coach and everything right there that they're teaching him something? Are they trying to get him out? Like, it's weird, because it felt like on a lot of 2 strike counts this spring, he was trying to locate that fastball in certain spots, and it wasn't hitting. Like, he was leading fastballs right over the middle of the plate that just got crushed out of the ballpark. So Aaron Nola, it's going to be a major question mark this year. I'm nervous about Aaron Nola, but I'm not as nervous about some people, because I know a lot of statistics, especially analytics, say he was a very unlucky pitcher last year. But then again, like, sometimes maybe if you look a little too deep into analytics, maybe they don't tell the entire story. So right now, Aaron Nola, he does have a lot to prove to people, and hopefully he can. Kyle Gibson, you know what he is at this point. He's going to be a solid 4.5 type of guy. If he gives you at least like a high 3 ERA at around the 4, that's a solid 4.5 starter. Zach Eflin, basically the same thing. He's going to be your 5th starter. He's going to give you his good games. He's going to give you his bad games. That's basically right now we know what Zach Eflin is. Ranger Suarez, I don't think he's going to replicate the year that he had last year, but if he can still be that solid number 3, give you around, a mid 3 ERA to 4 ERA, that's very solid. Very, very solid, especially in this day and age of baseball where offense is just, killer, where the offense is really killer. Zach Wheeler, He's probably not going to be ready till maybe the second week of the season, I think, when they play the Mets. So right now he had the shoulder issue in spring training coming into it. And then I don't think he officially started a spring training game. He was originally supposed to start one of those games against the Blue Jays late in spring training. But with everything going on with the weather and everything I think, Dunedin or something like that, they pulled Zach Wheeler from that start and they made him start a scrimmage game in Clearwater against, some of the Phillies replacement type of guys. So Wheeler, he's going to get his bullpen sessions in. He's going to get, his practice squad sessions in, and he's going to be ready by at least the second week of the season. So there's not going to be that long for Zach Wheeler, but hopefully, I don't think he's going to replicate Cy Young type of seat numbers, but if he can be a solid number one guy, that's basically all you can ask out of Zach Wheeler. Cory Knebel, like I said earlier, he's going to be the closer this year. He has some electric pitches, but he hasn't been a closer for the past couple of seasons. How is he going to, adapt to that? Can he use that experience to his advantage? He has a nasty curveball, and he's probably one of the better relievers in this bullpen. So I'm very fine with Cory Knebel. You got Familia, who they signed from the Mets. Basically the same type of situation. I know he had situations where he struggled with the Mets. He can throw heat. Sometimes he struggles with location. Sometimes he struggles with walking guys. But if he can be your solid seventh inning type of guy, that's perfectly fine. Brad Hand, same situation. I know a lot of people are down on Brad Hand, especially after the season he had last year. But a couple of seasons ago, he was one of the best relievers on the market, and he was going to demand a lot of money, especially when he was on the Indians, when he was on the Padres and all that stuff. He was going to demand money. He was one of the best relievers on the market a couple of years ago. And I feel like last year for Brad Hand was more of an outlier. Because if you look at his recent stats, before last year, he was having solid numbers, like around, mid 2 ERA, going into the 3 ERAs. He was really a consistent pitcher year after year. Last year was just a bad year for him. So if he could bounce back, that's a perfect help for this bullpen. That is a great help for this bullpen. Jose Alvarado, we know what he is at this point. Can throw heat. He struggles with command. He struggles with location. He's going to give you his good outings, and he's going to give you his outings where, oh my God, we're in a Jose Alvarado situation. Get me the hell out of this. We know what Jose Alvarado is at this point. Seranthony Dominguez, I'm not going to expect anything much from Seranthony. I'm not. But if he can prove that he is healthy for the entire year and he could be a solid type of guy, throw some heat, get guys out, be a sixth inning guy, be a seventh inning guy, be that just reliable guy in the bullpen. That is solid. That is, if he can just prove to be healthy, that is a good addition to that bullpen. Connor Brogdon, I'm still very intrigued by Brogdon, even though he did get roughed up a little bit this spring training. There are some intriguing things about Brogdon. I know early on in spring training, his fastball velocity was down, but in his recent couple of outings, his fastball velocity was back up around the 95, 96 type of area where his normal area is. So if he can build all of that, find a way to be confident going into this year, that's a help for this bullpen. You got Jones. We got Bailey Falter, who got in a lot of appearances last year. He's mainly going to be your long reliever type of guy. Same thing with a guy like a Sanchez. He's going to be more of your long reliever type of guy. Then you got also a Nelson as well. So that really wraps up the roster. And, just there are question marks. Yes, defensively, there are a lot of holes. We know this team's not going to be the best defensively. But this team's going to outscore people. This team's going to outscore a lot of other teams. They're going to be one of the best offenses in baseball. They're going to mash the ball. They're going to hit home runs. They're probably going to be at least a top 5 offense in baseball. And really, you can't ask for anything less than that. They're going to mash. They are going to mash, and it's going to be very fun to watch. So if you look at the lineup, there's many things that you can do with this lineup, but for the past couple of games, especially for today's game against Tampa Bay, where you see Bryce Harper hit 2 bombs, see Moniak hit a bomb, Reese Hoskins hit a bomb, mashing the ball over the place. Castellanos JT getting on base. Bryson Stott working professional at bats. I think this is probably the lineup you most likely will see for opening day, just from the way that I've seen the pattern go for the past couple of spring training games. So Kyle Schwarber, he's going to be your leadoff guy. He's going to play left field at certain points. He's going to DH at certain points. That's what he's going to be. JT Realmuto, he's been in the 2-hole a lot this spring. And I know I prefer Gene Segura in that 2-hole, but I'm starting to like JT more there. And he's looked very good this spring. I think he's had a quietly good spring training. He has an OPS, I think, around 1.007. So that's a very quietly good spring training for JT. And last year, he was injured a lot. If he could just be healthy this year, wake up that bat, that'd be a good spot for the 2-hole for JT. Bryce Harper, reigning NL MVP. mashing the ball this spring. Bryce Harper had 8 home runs. 8 home runs this spring. Honestly, could have had 9 with that one game. He could have had 3 home runs, but the wind just basically brought it back. What was it, against the Orioles or something like that? But 8 home runs this spring, an OPS of 1575. The guy just murdered the ball this spring. He looked amazing. He's just continuing off where he left last year. Bryce Harper's great. He is so, and I already saw a freaking tweet out there from one of the stupid, sporting accounts, that only look at analytics. They're saying, oh, we probably think Bryce Harper probably went from underrated to overrated pretty quickly. We're starting this stupid argument again. How many times are we going to be calling Bryce Harper overrated? The dude has won 2 MVPs. 2. And I know we're talking spring training stats. Spring training, I get that. But the guy mashed 8 home runs and had an OPS above 1,500 this spring. I wouldn't call that overrated. I know he's not the best defensive outfielder. He still has a cannon out there. I know people hate his defense. I feel like he's a pretty average defender out there. Oh, he's not a good defender in right field. Like, his defense is not that good. He's kind of overrated. Bryce Harper is a top 10 player in baseball. Top 10 player. I don't know why he gets all the hate that he does. Nick Castellanos, as your cleanup guy, he's basically going to do what he's advertised. He's going to mash the ball. He's not going to be good defensively, so he's going to be, platooning in the outfield. He's going to be platooning at DH. A lot of these guys are. Bryce Harper's going to get some days when he's the DH. JT, especially when he needs days off from the catching position, he can either play first base or he can DH. Castellanos going to either play left field, maybe right field when Bryce Harper needs a day off from the field. And also Castellanos is going to DH. So there's a lot of people in this lineup that can really intertwine with the DH and playing the field. Reese Hoskins, same thing. Reese Hoskins, I feel like he had a quiet spring, but he didn't mash the ball as well. He had a home run today. I think Reese Hoskins, especially with all the guys in this lineup as well, to where he's batting around, I feel like that can benefit them. I feel like that can benefit Reese Hoskins a lot, especially with a lot of these other guys to where all the pressure is dropped off of Reese Hoskins, to where he was expected to be the guy to, to drive in those runs, the guy to mash all those bombs. When you got guys like Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Nick Castellanos, JT Realmuto, I think all the pressure can drop off Reese Hoskins a little bit, and I think he can have a pretty solid year. And he can platoon with the DH. He can platoon at first base, so he's going to be one of those guys as well. Diego Padres, he looks like he's going to be your opening day shortstop. So basically, right now you're looking at the lineup, the top 6. You got lefty bat, righty bat, lefty bat, righty bat, righty bat, lefty bat. Solid lineup. Definitely a solid lineup right there. Gene Segura in the 7 hole. Maybe that could benefit Gene Segura. He's still going to hit. He's going to hit for at least a 290 average, maybe around 300. He's going to get on base. So I think I like a guy that can get on base, in that lower part of the lineup. That's very good for Gene Segura. Then basically when you get to that 8th and 9th spot, from what I've been seeing recently, they've been platooning Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm at third base for the past couple of spring training games. I'm not the biggest fan of that, but I do think Bryson Stott deserves to be the opening day starter, especially at third base over Alec Bohm. I feel like you're going to have days where Bryson Stott starts. You're going to have days where Alec Bohm starts. But I think overall, for the long term, I think Bryson Stott deserves to start at third base. Even though I still believe in Alec Bohm's upside with its bat, right now, Bryson Stott deserves it because he was amazing this spring. 406 average, 1076 OPS, got 1 bomb. He just puts up professional at bats. He had around maybe at least maybe a 7 to 10 pitch at bat before the Mickey Moniak bomb this afternoon, where he just worked the full count, fouled off a ton of pitches, and he worked the walk. He's putting up professional at bats. He looks confident at the plate, and he deserves to be up in the majors. He got called to the 40-man roster. He's going to be on the opening day roster. He deserves to play third base. Give you solid fielding out there. I'm fine with Bryson Stott. Then you also got Alec Bohm, and when you get those positions right there, so basically your 8th batter is most likely going to be a mix of Bryson Stott and Alec Bohm. So I feel like that's where it's going to be. The same thing with the 9th position. It's going to be a mix of either Mickey Moniak or Matt Buehling, where right now Mickey Moniak deserves to be the opening day center fielder. He deserves to start with the way he's batted this spring. 6 home runs, 1351 OPS. Dude mashed in spring training. And Kevin Long, put some credit to him. Kevin Long discussed with Mickey Moniak this spring training, move closer to home plate. Because, you see the last couple of seasons where Mickey Moniak bats, he kind of looked lost there. He looked lost at home plate. He stood a little off home plate as well. Kevin Long comes in, looks at a lot of tape, talks to Mickey Moniak, move closer to home plate. Stand closer. Mickey Moniak says, fine. Yeah, it's easy for me. Stands closer to home plate. Matches 6 home runs. Looks like a very confident hitter at the plate. Lines balls to the gap. Gets extra base hits. Beats the shift. Hits it the opposite way. He looks like a different hitter right now. And yeah, definitely when you get into the major leagues, the pitching is different. But if Mickey Moniak can come in with that confidence, that could be a much benefit to, this team. Especially, I know Mickey Moniak is only 23 years old. And if he can find a way to, prove a lot of the people wrong, especially me. I was one of those haters on Mickey Moniak. I didn't think he was going to be anything, with the past couple of seasons that we've seen. But if Mickey Moniak can come in and prove to everyone that he could be an everyday center fielder, provide you good defense, provide you good offense, you might have a diamond in the rough in Mickey Moniak. And we weren't expecting that. We definitely, even though there was a lot of stuff about the first overall pick with him, drafted first overall in 2016, been with the organization for a little bit here. Maybe he's finally finding his stride. Maybe a late bloomer. He's still only 23 years old. That's very young. That's where maybe a lot of young players even come up at that age. It's rare to see players come up at 20 years old. That's like when players come up at 20 years old, they're generational talents. They're game changing. That's where you get the Ronald Acuñas. That's where you get the Tatises. That's where you get all the other guys. You got Rodriguez from the Mariners. You got Bobby Wood Jr. from the Royals. Maybe Mickey Moniak's turning into that diamond in the rough. It's pretty nice to see. It definitely is. But then when you get to the rotation, your number one's going to be Zach Wheeler. The question marks with Aaron Nola, but he's going to be your number 2. Ranger Suarez, he's your number 3. Kyle Gibson, he's your number 4. And Zach Eflin, he is your number 5 type of starter. So, like I said earlier, when I said Vegas, they put the Phillies right now, I believe, at 85.5 wins. Like I said, I do believe this Phillies team could average around 86 to 88 wins. I think they're going to be an 88-win team. I think they get second wildcard spot. Second wildcard spot, third wildcard spot, around that range. That's where I expect them to possibly be at. And in terms of the National League East, there are, there's a question marks definitely, but you have, the reigning World Series champions. You got the Braves. They're still going to be the favorite for the division. I have the Braves possibly right now around 95 wins because right now they're the best team in this division. They're the reigning World Series champions for a reason. I'm not going to doubt them. New York Mets, they're question marks because at the end of the day, the Mets met. They have a good roster on paper. Jacob deGrom is injured again for at least a month right here before he's reevaluated. Max Scherzer, he's having hamstring issues, but he's going to be starting game 2 for them. They're relying on a lot of old people. A lot of guys in their early to mid-30s. Lineup is basically the same. They added a couple of pieces, but last year their lineup was one of the worst offenses in baseball. I think 29th ranked. Can they bounce back? Pete Alonso, Francisco Lindor, all those other bats. Got to wait and see. Their pitching is still going to be good. Their bullpen, even though you have Edwin Diaz in there, they have a lot of other arms in there as well. There's question marks surrounding that team, but I still think they're going to be tough. They're still going to be at least an 88 to 90 win team. That's why right now I have them in second place, but I'm not completely sold on them just because we know at the end of the day, the Mets met. Phillies, like I said, 88 wins. I have them at the third wildcard spot, third in the NL East, 88 wins. I think at this point, everything for the Phillies has to go wrong for them to miss the playoffs. That's what I see. That's what I expect. They're going to be a second to third wild card type of team. Then looking throughout, the rest of the NL East, I got the Marlins in 4th place. I do think the Marlins are going to be a little bit better because their pitching is legit. Their starting pitching especially. I think their starting pitching can give them at least, maybe 60. Like I have them at 75 wins right now. I think maybe it's a little high for them, but right now I have them in 4th. They're going to be tough, especially with their pitching. I got them at 75 wins. In the Nationals, they're not that good of a team. They have Juan Soto and all that stuff. They still got Steven Strasburg, but at the end of the day, their roster is very raw. They're very young. They don't have a lot of names on that roster besides Juan Soto and Strasburg. They're going to be just barely above a 60-win team at this point. I don't see it. Maybe 65 wins. That's what I haven't booked at. Even though maybe it's a little too high for them. Just because at the end of the day, they're not a good team. But you never know. You definitely never know. And just looking at the rest of the National League as well, just to see, some other teams. Like with the Central Division, like I said, I do think that division is run by, the Cardinals and the Brewers. I think the Brewers, with their pitching, they could probably get first place, and the Cardinals will be second place in that division because, all the, black magic that they use. Put up a good team there. Cubs, you're going to have third place, and then you have fourth and fifth place with the Reds and the Pirates. NL West, Dodgers, it's hard not to put them in first place, especially with their stacked roster. Giants, I'll put in second. Third place, Padres. Fourth place, Rockies. And fifth place, Diamondbacks. That's what I see. In terms of the wild card split, you got your division winners. You got the Braves. You got the Brewers. You got the Dodgers. So now with the expanded playoffs, you got 3 wild card spots. First wild card spot, I'll give it to the Giants. I think Giants win the first wild card spot. Second goes to the Mets. Third goes to the Phillies. That's what I see. I think that's what's going to happen. So maybe you can get a Phillies-Mets wild card game. Never know. Never know. In terms of the American League, it's the AL East. That's going to be a tough one to predict. Blue Jays, I'm going to give the Blue Jays the division. Braves, second place. Yankees, third place. Red Sox, fourth, even though their team is still stacked. And then the Baltimore Orioles are an obvious fifth place team. Central, White Sox first, Twins second, Detroit third. I think Detroit's going to make some noise this year. Guardians fourth. It's still weird saying Cleveland Guardians. I'm not used to that. And the Royals fifth. Even though they do have a lot of young names coming up for Kansas City, I think the Royals are a fifth place team. And then going to the West, AL West. Astros first. I think the Astros are still one of the better teams in that division. I think they get first place. I'll give Seattle Mariners second place. That's what I see. I'm tight between third and fourth. Stuck between that. Do I go Texas third? Angels third? I'll give the Angels third place. Angels third place. Rangers fourth place. And sorry, Oakland fans, you were in fifth place. I feel bad for you. You're probably going to eventually move to Vegas, and you're probably not going to be the Oakland Athletics eventually anytime soon. Your owners basically sold off everything, fire sale, and I feel bad. Do I even want to make a World Series prediction? Probably not. Probably not. Just because it's so far down the road. The season starts tomorrow. Let me just enjoy, the start of the season. So that'll just be it for that. So if we look into this Phillies schedule to start off the year. So now that you're done spring training, you got 2 series off the start opening week. You got the Oakland Athletics this weekend, Friday through Sunday. And then the Monday through Wednesday next week, you got the New York Mets. And then your first road trip of the series, you got 2 series there. You get the 14th through the 17th. That's a 4-game series against the Miami Marlins. And then you go out west early to the Colorado Rockies from the 18th to the 20th. You're back home facing the Brewers for a weekend series, the 22nd through the 24th. And then you got a 4-game set at home with the Colorado Rockies once again, the 25th through the 28th. So you're getting done with the Rockies early. Finish out the month with a 3-game set with the New York Mets. You're back home again against the Texas Rangers for 2 games in May, 3rd and 4th. And then another 4-game set against the New York Mets, 5th through the 8th. So I think right now with the Phillies, you see the Mets early on a lot. Especially, that might be helpful for this team too, especially when they don't have Jacob deGrom for 1 month. You see the Mets for 2 series in April, the 11th through the 13th, the 29th through May 1st. And then you see them again May 5th through the 8th at home, and then the 27th to the 29th in New York. You see the Mets 4 times in the first 2 months of the season. Without Jacob deGrom for that first month, that could be huge for the Phillies. That can. So after that 4-game series with the Mets, you play the Seattle Mariners the 9th through the 11th in Seattle. Then you play the Los Angeles Dodgers for a 4-game set from the 12th to the 15th. Back at home for a 3-game set with the Padres, the 17th to the 19th. Then you got 20th through the 22nd of May against the Los Angeles Dodgers. 4-game set on the road against the Atlanta Braves, 23rd through the 26th of May. Then that other series against the Mets, that 4th series in 2 months, 27th through the 29th. Play the San Francisco Giants in the last couple of days of May for a 3-game set. You get the Los Angeles Angels to start June, 3rd through the 5th. You get to see Mike Trout and Shohei Ohtani. Mike Trout comes back to Philadelphia for the 2nd time in his career. Go on the road for a short stint. Milwaukee Brewers, June 7th through the 9th. Back at home for 2 series. Arizona Diamondbacks, 10th through the 12th of June, and the 13th through the 15th is against the Miami Marlins. And then you got a weird set. You got a 5-game series against the Washington Nationals, the 16th through the 19th. But on the 17th, that is a scheduled doubleheader. So you got 5 games there with the Nationals. 5 games. You're on the road once again, 2 games against the Texas Rangers, 21st and the 22nd of June. Then you got a 4-game set with the San Diego Padres, 23rd through the 26th. Wrap up June 28th through the 30th against the Atlanta Braves. You get also as well. So this is a 3-game home set from the end of June to the beginning of July. 1st through the 3rd of July, St. Louis Cardinals. 5th through the 7th of July, the Washington Nationals. Then you go on a long road trip before the All-Star break. 8th through the 10th of July. No, actually a 4-game set with the Cardinals. 8th through the 11th. Then a 2-game series, the 12th and the 13th against the Blue Jays. And then you get the Miami Marlins for a 3-game set, the 15th through the 17th. And that's your final series before the All-Star break. Then you're back at home for a 3-game set with the Cubs, 22nd through the 24th of July. Then you get through the 25th and the 27th, a series against the Atlanta Braves. And then before the weekend of the trade deadline, the 28th through the 31st, you're going to be in Pittsburgh against the Pirates at PNC Park. The start off August, a 2-game set with the Atlanta Braves from the 2nd to the 3rd. Then you get a 4-game set with the Nationals at home from the 4th to the 7th of August. 9th through the 11th, Miami Marlins at home. Then you see the New York Mets once again, the 12th through the 14th on the road. 15th through the 17th in Cincinnati. Then back at home once again. And I think this is the final series against the Mets in August, the 19th through the 21st at home. Then you get a 4-game set against the Cincinnati Reds once again at home, 22nd through the 25th. And then a 3-game weekend series against the Pirates at home, 26th through the 28th. August 29th through the 31st, you're in the road against the Arizona Diamondbacks. And then you have a 3-game weekend series with the San Francisco Giants in San Francisco, the 2nd through the 4th. Back at home once again against the Marlins and the Nationals from the 6th to the 11th. And then you're on the road against the Marlins and the Braves from the 13th to the 18th. Home for a 2-game series against the Blue Jays, 20th and the 21st. Then you got a 4-game weekend series with the Braves from the 22nd to the 25th. That's going to be a crucial series probably if you're talking about, playoffs and all that stuff for the Phillies and the Braves. Then your final series of the season are going to be on the road. On the road. You're going to have 3 series actually on the road. Starting from the end of August, you got the 27th through the 29th in Chicago against the Cubs. Then you got August 30th through September 30th through October 2nd. This is a 4-game series with the Washington Nationals. You got a doubleheader on that Saturday, October 1st. So the 4-game series. Then your final series of the season, which was rescheduled from the previous opening day. The Phillies were originally supposed to play the Houston Astros in Houston on opening day for that weekend. But that's going to be the final weekend of the series of the season in Houston, a 3-game set in Houston, October 3rd for the 5th. And then eventually, if you do make the playoffs, that's when playoffs start in October. Can't wait. Can't wait. And I just basically read that entire schedule for you guys, but what are you going to do? I'm pumped for Phillies baseball. I can dissect this entire schedule any day of the goddamn week. But yeah, I think that's where I'm at right now with this Phillies team. Preview for the season. Very excited for Friday, opening day at 3 o'clock. I'm going to be there in the ballpark with my father. First opening day experience for myself. Very pumped. Very pumped. Hopefully they hit a lot of bombs. Especially like they did today in Tampa Bay. Bryce Harper, 2 bombs. Maybe Monique, maybe. Maybe Kyle Schwarber gets a 3rd deck bomb in right field. Nick Castellanos. So we can get all the Nick Castellanos memes. Maybe. And especially this could be a good series too, since you got, the weekly Oakland Athletics that just sold off their entire roster. Could be shipping up for a good opening series. Could be. So I think that's going to do it for this stream, everyone. I had a good time just talking Phillies baseball. I can basically do it every day of the week. And that's exactly what's going to happen once Phillies games start. Daily recaps, daily live streams, especially recapping the games. So definitely stay tuned for all of that. It's going to be a very busy time here. It's going to be a very exciting time, especially with the Phillies back. And then eventually you're going to have Sixers playoffs. Like I said in a couple of videos ago, the Flyers are probably going to take the backseat, especially with Phillies every day and Sixers playoffs eventually coming up. So that's going to happen. Eventually you're going to have the NFL draft at the end of the month too. So it's going to be a very exciting month of April. It is a very exciting month of April. So definitely stay tuned for all of that. Can't wait for opening day. Can't wait for all of that. So don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section down below. I'd like to hear this as always as your thoughts on this Philly season. Where do you expect them to be? Are you very excited for this season? Are you trying to hold back your, expectations just because you don't want to get heartbroken again? And I want to hear all those thoughts down in the comment section below. So don't forget to leave those down there. Don't forget to drop a like on this video. Don't forget to check out the panel lines, which I'm a part of. The links are down in the description below. Also, don't forget to check out the links to BrodesMedia, the Florida Pod merch website, and also Flyers Nitty Gritty. All the good stuff is down in the description below. Do not forget to check those out. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the most important thing you do is hit that sub button and also use the code TTPSports for $20 off your first purchase at SeatGeek. And I will see you next time, guys.